Brenda Coast, State Louisiana Developmental Disability.
Kelly Monroe. Melissa Bacon.
What are we doing?
I'm sorry, I don't know if she said.
Just saying our names, introduction.
Okay.
John Broussard.
Bambi Palazzolo.
Terry Underwood.
Brett Hunt.
Sue J. Robin Lively. And the secretary is one
Yeah, but what we did minutes for the last meeting.
We're supposed to have it.
Well, we have two.
Get on it, so I can take pictures of all you guys, and that's all I think. I don't think y'all want to take.
If one's a.
Alice. No problem. Passcode 101234. It's just your right, your left.
Oh, all right, to read the one.
We are on minutes.
It should have reviewed them.
They're in the packet that's also on there, if y'all want to look at that real quick.
Oh,
Do y'all need to look at the minutes? Does anybody else need to look at the minutes?
yeah, that's good. Does anyone want to make a motion to approve minutes?
I'll make a motion.
A second.
Minutes are approved. Public comment. Y'all have anything to say? No.
I don't think we received any, and I'm not in the Zoom, so I have to text Andrew.
So is Brenda can she even hear us right now or no?
She can hear y'all, but I'm just not connected, but the room's connected.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Go to program, please.
No public comment.
Here, look, just look on. Okay. Right there. All right, program.
More appropriate motion.
Get the next slide.
All right, you can tell at the end of January, we had 1,162 accounts with 5,733,168 in investments.
Yeah, that's her only slide. All right, right over there. I don't have a sign-in sheet, but I'm gonna mark it here.
So.
slides disappeared. Okay, so very quickly, I wanted to give a brief update on an item that we discussed at the last meeting about our campaign. So we have been working on our 529 Save Program campaign, and the big emphasis on LA. Sort of set a little internal audacious goal for ourselves of 2,500 able accounts by 2025. That's the goal that we have. And so this is going to be off in May, National 529 Days in May. So we're looking at month-long interactions on social media, information pushes, events. Anna Burrow has done a fantastic job. I introduced her at the last meeting. She's our PIO, Public Information Officer, that focuses on 529 and partnerships. And so August is Able to Save Month. That will be a sole focus on our LA Able accounts. Campaign including that. And then September for Public Savings Fund, we'll make sure to include there as well. And then of course we'll have sort of a year-long plan of what we're going to do throughout the year through partnerships, through events, through messaging, through social media, through advertisements, marketing, in order to promote our 529 accounts, in order to reach our goal of 85,000 start accounts by 2025, and hopefully 2,500 qualify for LA. So just a brief update of what we come up with, what we're looking at. We'll of course give us more detail as to the specifics of what those events, what those campaigns, what those graphics, the developed resources, videos, etc. Any questions?
I have a question. How would you plan on disseminating it? And I'm just asking because I know I have a huge email list, 6,000 people, all of our disability organizations have that. So how do you plan on pushing that out?
We use constant contact for our emails and newsletters. And so we're looking to identify partnerships with state agencies, the governor's office of disability affairs, institutions, and K-12, secondary, working with schools, individuals, different buildings, so that we can target, the demographics that we're trying to serve through those accounts. So one of the things that asked was if there are contacts that you have that maybe we have identified that you think that we should be focused on with this messaging. We certainly make sure that we're getting all the targets that we need to expand access to this accounts, knowledge of these accounts.
So you plan on doing like a toolkit, and so you send it to these organizations and like include the newsletter and your social media posts.
It'll be multi-faceted. So whenever we've done the 529 day and the 529, there's been a heavier focus on the start date. Well, we want to make sure that LA Able is to push just as much as the other. Thank you.
Okay. This is the thing that's our ability to spend the time. Yeah, I want that. Yes, ma'am.
Alice Brown and Robin Lively and myself have met with US Bank as well as the Treasurer's Office concerning the prepaid cards. As discussed at the last meeting, to offer a debit card tied to the balance in the Able account isn't currently available or offered. So prepaid card would be the second alternative. The state does have a contract with US Bank. So that would of course be the vendor that we would turn to. We did find out that there's no charge to issue the card or load the card. The only charge would be a minimal charge for us to send the money to US Bank to load the cards. Able staff would submit the information to US Bank to have the card issued and loaded. US Bank would in turn mail the card with agreements and such to the account holder, and in our case, the administrator. Future disbursements, of course, can be loaded on the card or requested by check or EFT. in our meetings with Treasury, they said that we could elect to receive the funds by card, for the funds to go on the card, or for them to be sent by check or EFT, depending on how the account holder requests that particular disbursement. They have said that there is no cash ATM availability for these cards or cash back on a purchase. Right now, they are working with California and Texas on with the same prepaid program. And that's the way they are also set up, with no cash back or allowed to be used at an ATM. As far as time, currently EFT deposits for disbursement are sent to the bank if they have an EFT agreement set up. Right now, we currently have 29% of the account holders have their funds elected to go to a bank account. The other 71% are now electing to receive a check. Currently, EFT deposits take at minimum a week and a half to be processed, and that's providing that we have the needed paperwork in place for Treasury to make those payments. And that's an EFT payment. And this will basically be the same thing as they will be loading this card. So at least subsequent loads, the initial load may of course take a little longer because you would have to, of course, receive the card in the mail from US Bank. Times that this could be extended, take a little longer, would be during times with heavy disbursements for the START program. I could see that taking longer than a week and a half, just due to the sheer volume in our fiscal area, because they also process ABLE disbursements in addition to START disbursements, in addition to K-12 disbursements. Also, there is the state shutdown of financial at the end of the fiscal year, where payments are not issued during the time between the shutdown of the current fiscal year going into the new fiscal year, and that's at the end of June. The card may be run as a debit card with a PIN number, or also as a credit card with just the signature. The administrator will be able to go into a US Bank website to manage their card and to view activity and loads on that card. The information for that is included when they send the card, so they'll have that. Some additional information that I received this morning on a conversation with US Bank. They are allowed one free card per year. If it's lost or stolen and they're past the one free for that year, they're charged a $5 replacement fee, and that's charged to that card. They also mentioned that they charge a $2 inactivity fee if they have no transactions for 90 days. We anticipate that this would be a two-phase process. The first phase to include the steps that I had mentioned previously, and phase two, we anticipate would include the construction process to implement recurring disbursements, as y'all had mentioned that you would be interested in the last. Ms. Brown will be able to discuss the fees as far as what we would be looking at as far as the software updates to be able to process. So
That's a quick question. Is there a limit of how much you can have transferred onto the card?
no, they I asked that question as far as a dollar amount. Yeah, no, I did ask that question. they said in the tens of thousands, so I think we're covered.
Yeah. And do you have to keep a certain amount into the able account, in order for it to keep going, like, you know, like a regular bank, you have to keep at least $25 in there, you have to do that.
Well, we have that, with our other accounts is the $10 that we require.
Okay.
And April, you know, April can get down to a zero balance and we still keep the account open for the owner. It's just set up differently and this, I don't see that this would affect that.
One
And-
point with respect to that, then, you know, Terry had said that we were thinking about 2 phases, and in that phase 2, if we do set up those recurring loads to the
Right.
card, we might have to consider a minimum balance. You know, even though obviously it's not gonna be loaded, if there's not funding in the account, we might consider putting
Okay.
just to make sure, because I would hate for somebody to be caught off guard.
Yeah, okay.
So. Talk about that later.
I'm excited about the debit cards or the prepaid cards.
So after talking to Treasury, right now there's an emergency contract in place for prepaid cards. After talking to West Bank, I don't know if they felt that what they need to do with ABLE is a little different from what they do with like workforce compensation or DCFS. That they felt that they needed a little more language, but Treasury said that there's an emergency contract set up for the next 90 days. And they felt that we could possibly start within that time frame on the emergency contract. But again, I did get a warm and fuzzy feel that US Bank agreed with that. Like they felt like the terms of the contract still needed a little more negotiations. But anyway, Treasury thought that we could have it done probably by May. I'm feeling like with our vendor, there's some pieces that we'll have to do internally, like the communication with US Bank. I think for this phase 1, our ABLE vendor will actually have to make some changes to the disbursement piece where we're saying EFT/check or prepaid. I believe that internally we'll be able to do all the other communication with US Bank, which is a little bit more than what we currently do. Because right now, in none of our LOSFA systems do we make payments, this is what we're gonna be doing. So the fact that we're actually sending a vendor information to provide money on a card, we don't normally do that. We create the disbursement and we send everything to Treasury, but it'll be LOSFA's responsibility to get the dollar amount to US Bank so they know it's for the card. Then for fiscal, we'll have to work with what they need to be able to let Treasury know what to pay US Bank for those transactions. So all of it is kind of new to us, but still internal and not actually the vendor needing to do that. So there's a lot of little pieces, but I feel comfortable in saying it's probably a 3 to 4 month time frame for us to get everything set up with US Bank in both ways and to test the process.
Okay. So we're hopeful that maybe May.
May is when we have the contract final, not
Oh,
an
okay.
emergency.
Okay.
So maybe September, October time frame.
Okay. Gotcha. I think we're gonna see a lot of people opening up accounts more here in Louisiana, once these cards come. A lot of people were going to other states because of the inconvenience of getting the money. And so I think that once these cards come, we're gonna see hopeful that we'll see a huge influx of people using the Louisiana ABLE and not go into Ohio and Tennessee and some of these other states.
Now, US Bank asked us to provide some additional information about disbursements. How many disbursements we have for able, how many accounts have been open. So, not sure how they're gonna use that
Okay,
in understanding their volume, and I'm sure how much money they can make off of this process, because as a vendor, they have to maintain stuff.
Yeah.
But, we're hopeful that because we'll be part of the state of Louisiana, that they don't, things will have one-on-one, and it's not worth it.
okay,
So I think those conversations will continue to have over the next month. To definitely determine, so that by the time we have, you know, because we know what contract we can work with, then we'll start the process on our application. But they, like Terry said, they provided the information we need to upload, you know, to create an application. And then, and what they'll send back to us so that we know the routing number and the account number. I think we still have to work with them on what we send back when we provide them the information to load the card. I don't think he sent that. Sure, I didn't see that. But anyway, so we definitely have some work to do. I think on the, like I said, on our able vendor, I'm hoping, my biggest cross, that all he's doing is making just a minor change. We know we have some table changes to make, because right now we don't store routing number and account number for payments, you know, to a vendor. We do that for, you know, your ACH for deposits, but we don't do it on the opposite end. So we have some table changes that we'll have to do, some table changes today that to add to the disbursement piece. So, but a lot of those things we can do internally. And I say that because that's not really a big cost when we're doing it internally. Because we have the team. So the less that we can do with the vendor, I'm hoping that this work, it appears to be, just could in his normal annual contract. So not any, lot of additional money. Any other questions? Did you have anything to add from our meetings that we didn't?
No, I think you did a fine job covering the.
thank you.
Yes, I just wanted to give a comment as a parent.
Okay, I think that's out there to do business, to serve the rule making for a company.
Yes, I just wanted to give a comment as a
Yes,
parent.
ma'am. So the Secure 2.0 Act of 2022 was signed into law in late December of 2022. And it contains some changes for the START program and for the ABLE program. What it does for the ABLE program is raises the age of disability from 26 to 46. And I know that at least Ms. Monroe was very excited that that had passed. So what we're doing is we're just adding this into the rulemaking. We're amending that language. This will not start until tax years beginning January 1, 2026. So the first time, you know, it would be that year before these individuals go. And that's what school making is. Any questions?
Yes, the question is, it's not directly on point, it's related. I'm just thinking how we can make the program easier to access. Dr. Butte or Robin, either of y'all can probably answer this one, but can we, if someone invests in START, their child is born, they don't know the child's going to be disabled until later. Can they roll the START money into an ABLE account?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
That's already happened.
Yes.
Good.
That's in the federal.
Okay,
That's,
great. Or an IRA. Okay, great.
yes.
Thank you.
Then I would ask for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I second.
Senator Paul, do we want to talk about, the possible legislation that we might be doing?
I think it'd be great if you would share.
You guys have a second? I know like we're ready to adjourn, but if you have a second to talk about. And I made a copy of the draft of the bill, but it's not really complete just yet. So I didn't really want to pass it out. I felt kind of uncomfortable about that, but we are bringing the ABLE back. Senator Paul is going to author the legislation for us. And what it's going to do is a couple of things. One thing is that it's going to allow a little bit more flexibilities in the rollover. So where you can roll over to an estate and then as a beneficiary, and then if there is no beneficiary that's listed or any living that's listed, then it could roll over into the disability service fund to keep it with people with disabilities. And then the other thing that we'd like to change is also prohibit the Medicaid from clawing back the money. And we have spoken with LDH, we spoke with CMS, we spoke with the IRS and all of the major players, and they were all fine with all of these changes. So I don't see any of this being a problem at all. And I'm so excited because with this change, you know, the age going up to 46, the debit cards and these changes that we're going to be making, Louisiana and a lot of, I mean, we only have 5 other states doing these changes that Senator Paul is going to take to the legislature this year. And so this is really going to put Louisiana on the map and get people to come back to Louisiana to open up some accounts. So I'm just really excited about all the good things that are happening. It took a while because when we passed it, what was it, 2014? It was my first session, I remember that. And so it's been a while, but I think this is gonna be a really good year and I'm excited about it, so.
I mean, can you say that first change, like going to an estate instead of?
The beneficiary rollover.
Yeah.
To allowing the beneficiary to be the estate of the individual, like the individual can name the estate. So it could go back to the family if that's who they named the estate. And then also, we were thinking about letting it roll over to other people who had accounts, but we're still not sure if we're able to do that. They did do it in Kansas and Pennsylvania, but the way that it reads, Robin feels that it may not fit. We may not be able to do that one. So that's why I didn't mention that. But if we're able to have it go to the estate, I think that's still better than, that's actually better than rolling it over to another account owner. And then having it to where Medicaid doesn't claw back the money is a huge win. And I think you'll see a lot of people want to open up these accounts. I think a lot of people are kind of nervous, like I put, you know, $50,000 in this account. You know, I don't want it just to go back to any old Joe that I don't know, you know, so I think this is really good changes that are happening, so I'm excited.
Thank you. Thank you for the idea. I wish I could take credit. It's your idea.
Well, thank you for carrying it. Yes. Yeah, we were at a RQS convention and we were in a policy meeting and somebody was talking about the ABLE, like, I wish I could, you know, take out the clawback and change, you know, have it go to an estate. And a guy from Nebraska goes, you can, why didn't you do it? And I was like, what do you mean you can? He's like, we did it last year. And I was like, what? So it's not gonna be just us. I think there are lots of them like that we're excited about that. And Tennessee, we shared our legislation with them. So they're gonna be moving forward this year too. So we're excited.
And Senator Paul, I think collectively would like to thank you for being a champion for ABLE and a champion for the START suite in general for the state of Louisiana. So we appreciate not only your efforts, but the responsiveness of your staff and your team to reaching out anytime you all have questions and us being able to reach out to you. So thank you so much.
No, I appreciate it. You're a great group to work with. I appreciate it.
Right, you have everything you need.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, is there any other? Comments?
There's not really any other business, but Ms. Chris just made a comment online that she said the age increase is a plus for stakeholders with no Secure Act. And then also just, this is just a FYI for the members that, once the legislation is introduced and it goes through the complete legislative process, we will have to have rulemaking on that. So our June meeting will be June 22nd, just keep that date open on your calendar.
So be here.
Be here.
Yes, please.
No beach trip on that. No beach trip. Sorry. I'll make a motion.
A second.
Thank you.
I'll do that.
Thank y'all for attending today.
Started.
I put order lunch for y'all and it should be here in about 15 minutes if y'all want to hang back